Have you been redundant or laid off from your cabin crew job? Perhaps you're feeling sad because it's been a while and you're worried about your skills. Some of you even feel desperate and you don't know what to do with yourself. I strongly recommend you to stay tuned until the last minute of this video, as I'm going to share with you a format of how you can get out from this situation, and I can share also a couple of examples and a personal experience of mine. My name is Julia George. I used to be a cabin crew for Qatar Airways for 10 years, where I have resigned from my last work position as a cabin service director. I'm living in Germany and I'm currently studying Aviation Management Master Program at Wildau Institute of Applied Science in Berlin. But meanwhile, I also work. And it's unbelievable because as an ex-cabin crew, I work in the medical field, and it has been proven that the first day training from Qatar Airways has been beneficial for me and has secured me a job at the Helios Clinic in Schwerin, over here in Germany where I live, and I'm working as a medical assistant in the Snore lab, which is a very interesting job. It has a lot of dynamic. I do get a chance to practice my teamwork skills and enhance my communication skills, and that is something that I really love to do meanwhile while my studies are lasting. As I have said, stay tuned until the last minute of this video to find out a lot of things that I'm going to share with you, and let's start. If you have been redundant or laid off and you're feeling sad, I want to tell you, please don't worry, because it's completely fine and it's totally all right to feel like that, and some of us even might feel even worse. It's completely normal, and I don't want you to judge yourself on that. The totally opposite. I believe that the level of responsibility that you have gained and straightened along with your skills makes whole this set of feelings that you are having inside you to produce something as a responsibility. But there is one question over here, and the question that comes up to any of you who have been redundant is, what shall we do in the meanwhile while we have been redundant or laid off? The situation in which you are in right now is unpredictable, and we all know the reason behind that. The corona pandemic has hit the aviation industry like never before, and we have been talking about it on my Instagram account, Xcrew Next Crew. I have also spoke about it on my video that I have released over here on my YouTube channel after I have attended a conference at my university, where 5 experts from the aviation industry spoke about the aviation in times of turbulence, spoke about corona and its political and economical implications. You can check that video. I'm going to put a description of a link from that video where you can find out where aviation stands at this moment. And I do recommend that you read it, you watch the video, because there are valid points there which I have learned it and I have shared it in order for all of us to understand what is happening at the moment and how things will be perhaps in future progressing, possible ways of how things will be progressing in future. Now let's go to the topic of this video. And let's start elaborating and discussing on what do I do, or what can I do if I have been redundant or laid off from the airline that I have been working for. One thing that I must mention, and in fact a few months ago I have shared it over here on my YouTube channel, that redundant and fired are not the same. And the simple reason is the segment of eligibility for getting a new job. If you have been redundant, then feel free to get references from your previous employer, from your airline, because you have not lost your job because of your fault, and those references are something that would be much appreciated wherever you are applying. But if you have been fired, then that's a different story. However, in this video, I'm going to be sticking to the redundant, laid off cabin crew, and we're not going to be talking about the fired cabin crew. What I want to share with you, and what I want you to think like, is that options are there. You just have to prepare yourself for something called a career change. And it would be very hard to tell you, do this, do that, search for this job, search in the medical field. That would be very hard to say, because every story is individual. But certainly I can share a format that you can use as a guidelines in getting out of this situation and getting out of these feelings a bit easier, and figuring out that options, as I have said previously, do exist. Let's start. It would be very helpful if you start with planning. You include, let's say, some writing. Open a Word document or take a piece of paper and start by writing down today's date, year, and the place where you are at the moment. it is very important to remind yourself that at this time, which date is it today, to remind yourself how long you have been in the cabin crew role, because your seniority is also important based on the trainings that you have gotten so far, and which place you are at the moment. You also must remind yourself at this time that you are in the country where you have left your country to go to another country and fly as a cabin crew for whatever reason that has been, and remind yourself once again that you are there, but at this moment your chances are a bit limited, and you might have to take a look at the options that are available in the place where you once upon a time, as I have said, left. Once you have established the date, you can start or jump into something called a mini CV of yourself. Not in the real format of the CV, but what do I mean by this? I mean by writing all your work experience, whatever that work experience it has been. This is an important segment, because this segment can develop options that you might have forgotten about, such as contacting perhaps your previous employer, etc., etc. As I have said, it is hard to tell you do this, do that, but there is a format, and this is exactly part of the format that will help you in your future decision-making process. After you have completed this, you can straight away jump to quickly writing your educational background along with all the additional trainings that you have gained alongside with your education and with your work experience. This is again an option and a possibility that can develop other options that will be suitable to what you have been studying previously or what you have gained as a training. Now, an important part is coming, and I always stress on that. It's called your skills. Write down all your skills, but don't do that just like copy paste ones, but rather than that, write down in bullet points, what do you know how to do? What are the areas that you are good at? And write them down in sentences. Now, again, it's important, please write down all of your experiences, because within the education and within the work experience together, everything you have learned in all those additional trainings that you've had, those are all part of your skills, and don't hesitate to write them down. This will also help you in develop options. Last point, is perhaps the hardest and will be the ongoing process, and the last point of the planning of the writing that I'm going to mention over here. It's called exploring your options. You might ask yourself, what does that mean? How do I explore my options? Many would say you start Googling, but yes, it's all about start Googling, start asking people, start looking for vacancies around where you are, and try to make connections in all those vacancies that are perhaps related, or there's something that is connected to some part of the document that you were previously writing, either your education or to your work experience. Even if it has the lowest chances or even no chance, send that application. I will share with you a small example that I keep on telling to many people, and I'm sharing it to many people. My husband, when he wanted to come and work in Germany and be a doctor here from Macedonia, he sent over 200 applications. I was shocked when he told me this, and I asked him why so many, and he said that he first, in this decision making, he first employed himself to search for a job, and he knew that if he want to succeed, he has to first dedicate himself to an application process. And he understood that his clients in this job of his were actually the companies that he was sending the applications in order to succeed in the search. He said that he also was waking up at 5 in the morning to send emails to ensure that those emails would be the last one that they would receive, and they will be the first one that they will be opening, the managers that will be opening, in order to leave impression. Now, he was also applying in different forms. He was applying to some by email, to some he was applying to the vacancies, and it was a different format of application. Finally, after 200 attempts, he got accepted in 11 jobs that he applied. And what do I try to say with sharing such an example? I'm trying to say that, ladies and gentlemen, options are there. And yes, at this moment they are limited because we are in a place where we once upon a time left. And there is a possibility they're not so well paid as we were paid as a cabin crew. And I believe that in circumstances like this, frustrations should be absent and we should get rid of them. Many people don't apply for jobs because they think that because they have been working in a well-paid job and perhaps they were senior in the previous job as a cabin crew, it's kind of an humiliation to search for a job. I'm sorry, but I don't agree. This is absolutely a stage where no room for such an attitude and thinking is acceptable if we want to succeed. And anyone who thinks like that won't be successful in future. And I have a reason why I say that. There is something more important over here, and those are called your skills. Once again, back to your skills. As a redundant cabin crew, you definitely have gained skills, and those skills that you have so far are not a joke. Do you want to kill them by not stimulating them just because you won't be as well paid as you were as a cabin crew? I seriously hope that I have influenced with all I have said previously to change your opinion somehow. Remember that in our cabin crew community, we also talked a lot about how important it is to respect all those people in the world and the other jobs that they're doing out there. So therefore, please do not hesitate. In one of my previous videos on YouTube, I have mentioned that an important component we should incorporate within ourselves, and that is called exclude a high opinion about yourself and include a lot of desire to be among people. As a cabin crew, you were surrounded with lots of people, right? So cherish that and remind yourself of that every single day. Cherish and nurture the need to be surrounded with people because you've enjoyed it. One aspect that I will mention from my point of view over here, again, it is very individual, and whoever is watching this video has and will have his or hers individual plans, but you also can consider an option of perhaps finishing a university, doing a master degree if you have a bachelor degree previously, do a PhD, etc., etc. Depends on which stage you are with your education at the moment. Again, this is an issue that is connected to the finances, and I cannot go into it as well as all of us. We have different financial capabilities. Some have been saving, some have not been saving. It's different, yet as an idea, it's there. For example, at the moment, I study Aviation Management Master Program at Wildau Institute of Applied Science in Berlin, as I have mentioned at the beginning. And also at the same time, I also work. I'm an assistant to the medical personnel in a snore lab at Helios Hospital here in Schwerin, where I live. And I do believe that, as I have mentioned, that the options out there available are just a stimulation for us to start exploring and to not hesitate ourselves to enroll in options that are out there available. And I strongly believe that they're there, they are next to you. You only have to open your eyes a bit wider. Following the same organizational method I have shared above and all the applications that I have sent previously, it happened that as an ex-cabin crew of Qatar Airways, and most importantly as a first aider, I am actually eligible to get this job, as I spoke about, as a snore lab assistant. But would I have known that I'm eligible for this job before I apply? No, I didn't, and most probably even you don't know. When I got the job, I called a friend of mine and I happily shared this news with her, and she said to me, "Oh, that husband of yours would do anything for you." But you know, that hurt me because she knows both of us, we don't live in Macedonia. We live in a country where, first of all, you can't work somewhere if you don't fulfill certain criteria. She herself, as I have mentioned, lives abroad, and I just answered to her that my husband maybe wants me to be a doctor, but I can't be one because I don't own a degree in a medical university. Therefore, as I have said, I have passed the interview based on my qualification and based on my skills and nothing else. And I seriously believe that if I could do it, if I could get a job in the medical field, many of us can just keep on trying with the circumstances. Many of you can keep on trying and trying because you are definitely going to find something. The important thing is not to stay and keep on waiting. And I want to summarize. I want you to not to take the redundancy and the laid off situation personally. Redundancy can deliver a serious blow to your confidence and bring plenty of uncertainty about the future, especially now with the COVID crisis. But dwelling on the negatives can delay your return to your workforce just because of the skills I have mentioned. Remember, it is the jobs that are made redundant and not the people, and that is something that can happen to anyone, and it's not your fault. As hard as may be, but taking a proactive approach in this situation, it is critical in making this redundancy the start of a change in your life. And as I have mentioned previously, be ready for a career change. Obviously, I was ready, perhaps I didn't know that, but I do have a different career at the moment. Now, writing a plan of action, as I have mentioned, will not only help you boost your spirits, but it will also provide you a roadmap to get your career back on track. Many employers are looking for wide range skilled people and different sets of skills being possessed by individuals, and it is essential to have the skills needed to find the work in a growth of an industry. And as an ex-cabin crew, I do believe that you have outstanding skills. I want to also share with you and tell you to be confident that you have the skills to rebuild a career again, just the way you did it with a cabin crew career. And don't overlook your professional and social contacts. You should anticipate them. Many jobs are not advertised. They are not given out there. Explore situations and people and try to get as much as context as you can. When you think about how many people you know, whether it's through your professional network or friends or family, everyone can be literally helpful to help you secure a job at this moment. Just keep on searching and keep on sending your CV. Your airline offers you an out replacement service. Make the most out of it that is available. Now, surviving this redundancy, it's all about tapping into every possible resource that is out there. Something important that I want to mention over here, and I want you to think about it, it's your CV, because it's an important part for your future career progress or your future new career. So your future new employer would want to see a resume that you have invested time writing. It's not your ex resume that when you apply for a cabin crew. And bear in mind that your resume can be fine-tuned for different roles, but it pays to have a resume that it's ready, that it's well updated, and it's tailored to the opportunities, because for a different job position you have to differently structurize your CV. Now ask your airline for a reference, which I have spoke earlier, so you can attach it to your resume, to your CV, and take copies of your professional qualifications as well as all the certificates that you have to your future manager, because everything will be an evidence that those people would want to see. And please don't be shy, because as a cabin crew you were not shy and you're not supposed to be shy now. The airline would definitely appreciate that you have been staying and working on your skills in the meantime when this redundancy was happening. And if you're looking from a reference from them, just mention that you need them for a job at the moment, because they would appreciate that you are trying to stay busy and trying to work on your skills, and extend a willingness that you definitely want to come back to the airline once the circumstances allow that, and when you will be you're looking forward to basically being called back again. The last important point which I will stress for is that if you're signing in any contract, do read carefully all the points and ask for any amendments in terms, if they're possible, in terms of planning that you might go back to your previous job as a cabin crew. Now, we already spoke that a time frame at this moment can't be established. However, you should be in the group of people that would be following aviation industry as closely as possible, being subscribed on my YouTube channel over here, following me on my Instagram account, because that is currently a very popular topic that we are engaged at the university. Last but not the least, I want to share with you and recommend you to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, is to please stay positive, because I exactly know how you feel When I stopped flying, I also needed a job immediately, but I was pregnant and it wasn't easy. Now, experiencing redundancy can be challenging, but can be combined with not so hearing back from job application, and it can be hard to remain positive. However, staying upset about your job prospects will not help you, and in particularly a negative outlook will not help you. A can-do attitude is more than welcome to any employer, and I think that is exactly what has helped me in gaining my job. I had that I can-do attitude when I showed up for that interview. Now, make a commitment to treating the search for work as if that's a job, just like I've mentioned my husband's example. I have said previously, it makes sense that you have a better strike rate if you make this job hunting a full-time project that you are working on, and will pay off for sure. I would like to hear your comments below this video later on, because I know that it's gonna work. With a clear redundancy plan, determination, and flexibility, your career soon will be on track through perhaps in ways that you have never expected. It could be the turning point that will turn your career in a whole new direction. You never know that. You just have to keep on staying positive and keep on staying engaged. Last but not the least, don't forget to click subscribe button, stay on my YouTube channel over here, follow me on my Instagram account, and share with me all your progress you have made. Where are you at the moment? Do you search and research of options available? And last but not the least, again, I think LinkedIn is an amazing account where you can get a lot of options there, a lot of ideas, and a lot of contacts with people. Nevertheless, I don't underestimate the power of all the social media networks, because they have a power to connect all of us together and create stories that are really worth to be retold. Thank you and have a nice day.